Hello. Today I want to make a statement that competition is optional. And what I mean by that is there is no real need to compete with any perceived other in any way, yet in some cases competition can be fun, and I'm speaking of sports and other contests of skill or ability and that sort of thing, where you're competing in a way that is intended to be fun. And the competitors, the participants, are testing their abilities against each other, either as one to one or as one team to another. Yet there is a spirit of mutual respect and support. And admittedly, sometimes, a lot of times actually, that gets lost in the face of what becomes, in my opinion and in my view, unhealthy competition. And that's when we could say ego, separation, duality takes over. And in that instance, in those instances, the winning becomes more important than the experience of the game, whatever game it is or whatever competition it is that you're participating in. And there becomes this attachment to winning at all costs, and the winner is the better, the greater, and the loser is the lesser. And this truth of balance and equality that can still be had in healthy competition, because even if and when one competitor wins the game rather than another, there is still this level of equality underneath it and around, and what's the word, embracing all of it. And when one has won the game, it simply means that at that time they had whatever skills or abilities that were needed to win the game. Like they had a better, maybe better is the wrong word. They had a more developed ability in some way, or abilities in some way, that facilitated them, allowed them to win the game. And that's all there was. But then the next time the competitors play, maybe the other ones will win, or another team will win, and it'll be for similar reasons. Maybe not because they have exactly the same skills and abilities developed as the first team, but whatever they have will allow them to win the game at that time. And so it becomes this kind of mutual, balanced enjoyment of this competition. Whereas going back to what I was saying about unhealthy competition, when that happens, it's more about the attitude and the perception or misperception that whoever wins is somehow better than the other in a way that actually diminishes the other, makes the other less than and not as good as, inferior. And that's when things tend to get out of balance. And that's what happens in a lot of the places of competition. And yet, I've gotten a bit off track here because I'm talking fully about sporting competition and that kind of thing now. But to get back to what I began this message with, the idea of competition is actually optional anyway, because for each of us, as our beautiful individual, unique expressions of source, of divine, of the one, only we, only you, can be you. And you have this perfect you-ness, this perfect, unique expression. You are this perfect, unique expression of being. And in that, there is simply no other, no one else that is the same. And therefore, really, there is no competition and there's no need to compete. Because when you are from your truest self, from your heart, and in the most free and full way, when you are being, expressing, allowing yourself to be who and what you really truly are, then you are this beautiful, unique, optimum expression of source, of being. And there is no competition. And there is no real need for competition. And lining up or paralleling and using the sports example in the example of competition in all senses in that way, the same thing applies. The competition can be healthy when we are each being our own beautiful, unique expressions of being, and we can be doing things in the same realm as others. We could be playing the same game, and at the same time, truly, there is no need for competition in that, because you are, I am, we are, each of us is our own perfect, beautiful individual self. And therefore, there is no competition, and yet there are all these beautiful expressions of being here. And then when it shifts into unhealthy competition is when there becomes this kind of common goal, we could say, of wanting to achieve something or be in a certain way or be recognized for something. And when we are and we become well recognized, then somehow we make others who are less recognized or who aren't at the same level of perceived success as we are, we somehow make them less than us or less than, inferior in some way, just because they haven't reached the same level that we have in a given field when we're playing the same game as such. And again, that's when the illusions, the ego creations of separation, of duality, better than, worse than, stronger than, weaker than, and all of that comes into play. And that's when things go off into the realms of unhealthy competition and separation, and harmony, balance, joy tends to get lost. And so when we fully go into and realize and remember, recognize, and be who and what we really truly are in our hearts, and we can just let go of the competition, we can move into either unique, beautiful being and expression of ourselves for which we can, and very likely are, be recognized by others and celebrated by others. And even that, the approval of others, is not really necessary in our perfection, because we are realizing the fullness of who and what we really are, and there's no need to impress others, because that's looking for external validation, which, when we are in the fullness of ourselves, is not necessary. And so we can be the beautiful, unique expressions of who we are, or in connection, collaboration with others, we can be beautiful, unique expressions working, playing together, and create amazing and beautiful things collectively. So we can do it individually or collectively. And either way, the competition is optional. And if there is competition, it is healthy. It's not unhealthy, where there becomes winners and losers, better than, worse than, superior, inferior, and all of that. So just allow yourself to be in this truth of who you are and feel your uniqueness, your perfection, your brilliance, and be that in love for yourself and for others and all. And realize there's no need to compete. And if you do, have fun with it in healthy, balanced, joyful, loving ways with others, with all. And it's a lot more fun and a lot more fulfilling when we do it in that way, and when we be as we are. See you next time. Love you.